Good morning. I will call to order the regularly scheduled meeting for the Transportation and Public Works Committee. I am Councilman Reich. I chair the committee, and I'm joined by my colleagues, Councilmembers Bender, Fletcher, and Gordon. We are quorum and may proceed with today's agenda. On today's agenda, we have 8 items, 7 of which are consent. I'll go through the consent items. Committee members can pull them for further consideration if they wish. Item 1 is the Bicycle Advisory Committee appointment of Dan Miller for seat 1, Ward 1. Item 2 is the 2018 Street Resurfacing Program designation, cost estimate, and setting of the public hearing. And that public hearing will be a series of public hearings, and those dates are listed. Item 3 is the Litter Be Gone Event Services, RFP, related to our discussion item later on the agenda. Contract amendment is item 4 with Cone Partners Historic Preservation, Architectural and Landscape Design Services for PV Plaza. Item 5 is the traffic zone restrictions and controls, the 2017 quarterly reports. Item 6 is the bid for the East River Road Railroad Crossing Project. Item 7 is the bid for Broadway Street Reconstruction Project. All for those bids are listed. Does anyone wish to pull an item for further consideration? Seeing none, all in favor of the items as submitted, say aye. Aye. Dissenting, nay. Those items carry, and we can go to our discussion item. Good morning, Director Hutchinson.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. We are very pleased to present an item to you that shows a lot of the pride in our work. Each time we ask our residents to rank city services, I am told that in previous surveys, and again in this most recent one I've seen, solid waste and recycling comes out as the #1 service that we provide. And a good reason for that is the efforts of our staff. And they're going to present some information that I think you'll find both interesting and extremely valuable for all of our neighborhoods and communities. So with that, I'm going to introduce David Herberholz, who's our Director of Solid Waste and Recycling, and he will take it from there.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, committee members. My name is Dave Herberholz, and I'm the Director of Solid Waste and Recycling for the City and Public Works. I'm very excited to be here today for this opportunity to present an overview on our litter abatement activities and to present a few new and exciting initiatives to address litter in Minneapolis. And with that, I've got staff members here, but I'd like to introduce Angela Brenny, who's going to do the presentation, and she'll begin. Thanks.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, committee members. My name is Angela Brenny. I'm an analyst at Solid Waste and Recycling. Today's presentation will focus on litter, but I'll give you just a little bit of background on what our division does to get us started. So first, our mission. In short, Clean City is job 1. We do it efficiently, safely, and effectively. So who do we serve? Primarily, our customers are residential dwelling units in buildings that are 4 and fewer, 4 units and under. We have a small number of commercial properties, a little bit larger number of parks, and just a few larger apartment buildings. So our core customers, residential dwellings, 4 units and less. So what do we do? Our core services include collection, processing, and disposal of anything that we pick up. We collect garbage, recycling, organics, prop materials, yard waste, mattresses. We offer excessive material management through our voucher program. Residents can bring it in for free. We also do some enforcement and requested cleanup for a fee. Customers can get rid of additional material. And that brings us to other programs, Clean City. Clean City programs are available really to anyone. They don't have to be a customer of solid waste and recycling as long as the activities are within the city limits. These programs started in the mid-1990s. They offer both short and long-term commitments, anywhere from a 1-day event to a 2-year commitment. All offer a no-cost option. Each takes place, as stated, within the city limits. Anyone can participate, but the activity has to be here. So that leads us to this problem of litter. We've had these programs going for a couple decades now. Litter is still an issue. So we took some time to take a look at litter specifically. So what do we mean by litter? We're talking about wrappers, plastic bottles, packaging that's left in accumulations of less than 1 cubic foot in a single occurrence. It can accumulate into more than that, but we're talking about just leaving a wrapper in it on the ground, not in a receptacle, When it's dumped in larger amounts, so cubic foot or more, we treat that as illegal dumping. It's a very similar problem, still a livability issue, but the process is a little bit different on the internal side. And that brings us to why we care about litter. Well, it reduces livability, obviously. The presence of litter makes people feel more comfortable adding to the problem, so it's perpetuating this issue. And that leads us to cleanup. So who is responsible for taking care of it? As you can see on this slide, it's not as simple as one entity. And this area, it isn't that it has a litter problem. I selected it just because you can see in one view that it could be multiple entities. And you might not know that just being on the street looking at the issue. You can say, oh, it's just Public Works. Let me contact them. When in fact, it could be multiple entities, even just public property. It could be Hennepin County, MnDOT, Public Works, Park Board. Private property is enforced by regulatory services or solid waste and recycling, but we hold the utility bill payer taxpayer responsible. So even though not all of these areas are under the purview of solid waste, we're routinely contacted to assist with cleanup. And that led us on this path of trying to figure out ways to prevent it. So take instead of reactive, a proactive approach to litter. We began meeting biweekly in early 2017 to brainstorm ways to address the problem. Our team focused on a few things: prevention, sustainability, involving the community, low cost to our division, no cost to participants, and we landed on 4 programs. And in the next few slides here, I'm going to just give a high-level overview of what those are. First, measurability. So the first program is a benchmarking annual litter scan. What this is, we actually visually scan the city and rank the amount of litter on a scale of 1 to 4 to come up with hotspots. How we do that, there's 11 neighborhood communities. In each of those neighborhood communities, there's 5 to 10 segments of road, about half mile to a mile each, that we drive in a bus and have 4 scanners, 2 on each side, visually watching litter and ranking it. In addition, we have a navigator to direct the driver and then the driver of the vehicle. Now, this team is made up of Public Works divisions. Each has a vested interest in making sure that litter is prevented, but also that this measurement is accurate. So solid waste, obviously, we want to see that our programs are making some improvement. We have surface water and sewer. The city stormwater permit requires them to track sources of pollution, minimize that. We have a number of pilot projects going, so they're involved. TM&R is involved. They sweep our streets, and a lot of litter in the spring is found, but also they can be called on too to clean up piles of litter along the right of way. So we have a vested interest in making sure that this is accurate information. The first annual benchmarking scan was completed in 2017 and is available if requested. So we do have a general idea of what our hotspots are, which helps drive where these other programs are going to be taking place. The next is request for litter cleanup supplies. So this program offers no-cost supplies to volunteers that want to clean up litter at one-time event, multiple-day event. Anytime they want to participate in cleaning up litter in the city, we'll give them supplies at no charge. Full bags, so once they collect the litter, those bags are placed either in their garbage cart next to it or next to a privately serviced dumpster. The bags are yellow, indicates a volunteer activity, doesn't result in any excess garbage tagging. We have provided these supplies in the past through a special request program or through our adopt programs, but this is more for tracking amount of supplies, what's being cleaned, where is it being cleaned, who's participating. So we've really refined what we're going to measure with this program. Clean City Classroom. This is in its pilot stages. This is a curriculum. So Clean City Classroom takes the Waste in Place curriculum. It's a National Education Association accredited curriculum, combines it with our Clean City programs, and then the availability of expert presenters on recycling and Clean City to Minneapolis Public Schools currently. We currently have 4 schools that are going to be using this curriculum coming up here in the spring. And then eventually we're hoping to expand this across multiple schools after we get some feedback and start to improve on the program, find out what educators really want out of this. Litter Be Gone, this was on the consent agenda. So this is actually an event. It's going to be an annual event in the fall of each year where it's very similar to Earth Day, where we have multiple sites and the entire city is cleaned with volunteers. And then we have a nonprofit help us execute the event and handle some of the organizational details of the event. And that concludes the short presentation on where we're headed with litter abatement and prevention. Are there any questions?
I just make the comment that we do take this very seriously. It's not just a matter of our environmental initiatives and just being a fastidious city, but when you go to sort of a Meet Minneapolis meeting and you look at all the surveys in terms of what the impression of Minneapolis is, it's that we're a clean, safe, friendly city. And so this is a big part of what we are as a city and how we promote ourselves, and it even drives our economy to a certain degree. And I apologize, I was supposed to wear my retro Hoot the Owl t-shirt today in honor of this presentation, but I forgot, so my apologies.
Thank you.
Councilmember Fletcher.
I will also just say thanks. Your department's heard from me a little bit about, we always look on with some jealousy at the really great trash removal services that are offered to buildings below 4 units. Because the majority of Ward 3 lives in bigger buildings than that. And this is one program that we all really benefit from and that people are really enthusiastic about. And I'll just say the North Loop Neighborhood Association just had about 200 of these yellow bags that they handed out to everybody at the association meeting, and everybody was really excited about it. And it's one of the events that they look forward to get out and be part of cleaning the neighborhood. And I think it's really given some pride of place. And it is one of the things that people remark on about our city. So thanks for the good work.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Councilmember Gordon.
Thank you. This whole report reminded me of a staff direction that the council passed last August. I know that we've had a lot of discussions in the last couple of years about what to do with litter, especially plastic litter. And I believe that there was a staff direction about finding more sources to deal with litter cleanup. Is this, I'm curious if this is at all responsive to that staff direction, and also what is the revenue that you're using to fund these programs?
Well, I will say it's running parallel. So currently we are not using that staff direction to fund the program. We are using solid waste and recycling enterprise funds. In addition to when we partner with this nonprofit, they will be able to accept donations, which will be recorded by the city, but to offset the cost of the program. So with all 4 annual operating expenses are expected to increase about $61,000 total for all 4 programs. The majority being Clean City Classroom, the curriculum, the guides are actually the most expensive item.
So by partnering with the nonprofit, we may actually be able to see an increase in revenue that we can use to deal with this problem?
We will actually see an increase or a reduction in the cost that the city
Right.
is required to apply to the program. More in-kind donations.
All right. Well, sounds sort of responsive to the staff direction. I appreciate that.
Any further discussion or questions? Seeing none, thanks for the presentation. And with that, we will receive and file this presentation. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Dissenting nay, that carries. And we've exhausted our agenda and are adjourned. Thank you.